Hi, welcome to MicroStrategy Embedding SDK program tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you one example about attribute filter. So let's get started. So to see that example, you go to Start Over, select the attribute selector under the filter group. Click Continue. The code will be automatically populated into the code editor. And if you want to run it, it's already running. If you want to run it, you can use the run button. Click run button. The example will be run. So in this dossier, we're using a dossier in demo environment. In this dossier, we have two filters. One is the year, which is a single select filter. You can see the filter example here, right? If you click year, you see year is a single select filter. There's another filter called month, which is the multi-selector filter. Multi-select attribute select filter. So let's look at the code. There's some of the HTML here to generate this UI. There's an update filter button. So let's look at the JavaScript behind the button. So update filter button here. Okay, so update filter. This is the JavaScript function behind this button. Behind this button. When this button is called, we're going to call the embedding SDK get a filter list, and populate this interface, right? Populate this. This code is to populate this interface to show all the filters. Since we in this example, we only show attribute selector filter, so we'll filter the type. We check the type. Only the attribute filter selector will be shown in this example. And after this function, show filter function is to populate this UI. All right. So let's see. So what happened if you click the select button, submit button? So if you click submit button, let's see. Let's figure out which function is submit on the after the submit button. So you can search the code in the code editor. You can use the shortcut key, Control, Command F, Command G in Mac. On Mac, you can also use Control F, Control G on Windows to find out to search the code. So let's find which code is behind the submit button. So here is the submit button, right? So when you click submit button, this apply filter function will be called. So let's find apply filter button, apply filter function. So here, so this will be called. So apply filter function will first get the element selected and build a JSON, right? Build a object, filter object. And we need to figure out, right? It will figure out the key to use in the JSON object. If you ever want to figure out what object it is used, you can use the console log. So let's see. So since this is the attribute select filter, if I select year and select single year, so eventually it will figure out a selection. Eventually this function will be called, right? So in order to figure out what JSON we're going to pass to this object, we can use the console log. If I write console log dot filter JSON, you will see, let's run this. Okay, we run this code and let's clear the log. And I'm going to, right now it's 2014 is selected. I'm going to change to 2015 and click the submit button. Okay. So you see something is logged in the console log, right? That's the code I just wrote and the filter JSON. So let's see what JSON object you need to create to call the embedding SDK function. So let's see. So we passing the filter info object. We pass the key. This is the filter key and one value. This is a 2015. If you ever want to build the JSON yourself, you can look up the you can actually, let me show you how to see what filter is included in this example. So if I run this code, update filter, let's see what happens in, so you see update filter. So we have a console log to print out the list of the filters. So from here, you can figure out here the key is this, and it has these 3 elements. And for filter object amounts, you see the ID, and you see a bunch of the elements. Okay, so you can use this console log if you ever want to write something in the console log. You can just use console.log. It will automatically log to here. Okay, so let's figure out if you use amounts, right? If I multi-select, if I do deselect all, submit. So let's see, if I do deselect all and submit, you see the mouse filter is removed from the filter, right? So let's see what happens behind the scene. So there's a function we created. This is a select all and submit. There's a deselect all and submit. So this function will be called. So in this function, we're using embedding SDK filter deselect all attribute and passing the filter info. And also we use the hold and submit to false. So this is a flag we tell the embedding SDK whether we want to submit the filter immediately. So if you say hold and submit to true, you can call another function like submit apply the filter. Let's see, let's figure out exactly the function name. So if you want, so yeah, basically it's a function we used on the apply button, right? Apply filter button. So if you see apply, if you select this and we add this filter, but it's holding. Let's see. Okay, so let's see the use of this. Actually, yeah, in this example, we didn't use this to be true. So if you have this to be true, it will be holding. So you can apply the filter later. So let me show you the code. If you want to hold and apply, so this is the code you can use. Go to the filter section. Okay. At the last one, you see the apply all changes. So when you apply the filter, you use this to be you can call this function later to apply all the changes all together. So this is a filter apply all. So you can use this function to apply the filter if you don't want to submit immediately. So you can apply multiple filters at one time. The page will only be updated once. Okay, so that's the deselect, and the select and apply function is also similar. So this is a deselect, this is select. It will call, it will figure out, create a JSON. If you ever want to see what JSON is created, it basically is ID and this, right? The hold and select to be false. Actually, this is a default. If you don't specify this, this will be automatically submitted. So you call the after this, you call, okay, let's see, this is a select all and submit, right? So you call embedding SDK, filter select all and attribute, passing this object. So this will be sent to the embedding SDK and we'll select all attribute and then we'll submit. And for this function is just to update the UI. So after you submit, if you click this, it will submit this to the backend, to the embedding SDK, and it also update the UI. So this is just to update the UI. All right. So if you ever want to implement the filter UI in your interface, you can look at this example as well as some other filter examples in this list. So we implement all the possible APIs. We implement the example for all the possible filter APIs in the embedding SDK. So if you ever want to implement the filter UI yourself, you can look into this example and some other examples. All right, thank you. See you next time.